Hey, it's Ducky, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So I've seen so many people on TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram do like a sketchbook spread based on a song and like some of the lyrics of the song. So I decided I really wanted to have a go at doing that, and I chose the new RORY song Strange for that. So let's get into it. Sadly, I can't show you the song that this is inspired by in this video because copyright and all that, but you should definitely check it out, and I will of course link it below. I love RORY. I first watched her on TikTok because she posted about mental health and ADHD, and I just really related to a lot of her content. Then she started posting her music, and I was in love with it. I've been to most of her tours except one because I think it was just after I was made redundant or something, so I was a little anxious about money. Their music really resonates with me, and this recent song Strange just really hit me hard. It's no secret that I've struggled with my mental health and had a pretty difficult childhood, so I'm sure that's probably not a surprise to most people. RORY holds a special place in my heart because she was crucial in helping me deal with my grief of my best friend. One of the last times I spent a good amount of time with her was at Burn It Down Festival, which is an indoor festival held in clubs and a pub in Torquay. I hadn't really ever spent much time in Torquay before, and for a long time after Izzy's death, I couldn't be at a rock pub or club or gig without getting really depressed and crying because Izzy should be here enjoying this, and she would have been encouraging me to be so much more carefree at these things. Then I saw RORY was playing at the club, which is the main stage of the festival, and I knew I had to go to that gig and listen to her songs about grief, and it was a beautiful, amazing night, but a difficult one. I broke down crying for most of the gig, and it felt spiritual. I felt like I was stripping myself of the pain and grief I felt, and was letting myself feel it, not stopping myself. I ended up having a seizure afterwards because a gig is pretty taxing on my body without the emotional breakdown on top of that, but I can say that gig truly changed my life. I've been to a handful of gigs since, and every gig I of course still think of her. She was important to me and she will always be on my mind, but I can properly enjoy a gig now without breaking down. Back to this piece. I painstakingly, off camera, wrote the lyrics to the entire song over and over again in very small print in the outline of someone lying down with a pill bottle. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks as to what that's meant to represent. And then clearly I hate myself because I decided to colour everything in the opposite colours to what they were supposed to be, and had to write all those lyrics out a second time off camera again. The lyrics I chose for this page were 7 years later in a family home, but you won't forget the basement where you almost died alone. 7 years later in the arms of someone, but you won't forget the lonely years you had when you were young. I think this feels especially close to home for me because I'm on the journey of buying a house with my partner, and the family home won't ever have children, don't get me wrong, but it does have fur babies. This was quite a quick piece, other than the off-camera writing lyrics out for like 3 hours total. So I was able to keep in a lot more of the process than I usually do for my artworks. Now the colours to this piece were very important for me, so I had to fix the mistake. I chose to use blue for the female that definitely isn't supposed to resemble me at all, as that's often used as a colour for depression and sadness, and I chose pink for the person that definitely isn't supposed to represent my partner, as the anchor and love has played a part in helping the person heal. The black background is there to separate the page and try to get you to read across the top and then the bottom, as that's the way the lyrics go for this piece, just because it made the most sense for laying out the other aspects. I also created a big clock to symbolise the movement of time. Also, in the black background, I added a spiky background around one of the head of the person lying down, and then a soft bubbly background behind the head of the person in the second bit, and that's also meant to represent like the bad feelings and the healing. And I also used the pink squiggle to try and separate the two pages of half as well as the black. I wanted to play around with different fonts to pick out words that felt particularly important to me. For Almost Died Alone, I used a very angry, raw looking text because that's how I interpret those words, remembering those angry, scared, sad and raw moments where you almost left this earth, whether you managed to stop yourself in time or medical intervention. I also really liked how I did the wording that goes over the edge of the black in the background, with doing part black and part white lettering. I purposely chose blue for the wording that felt particularly raw and sad. I didn't for the basement purely for the balance of the colours. But I chose 7 years later specifically to have pink to show that the really annoying saying of time heals all wounds does have some merit. However, what that saying doesn't include is the grueling work and effort you have to put in during that time to heal. Things really can get better, but if you don't try, you may never see that. It took me a long time to try to get better. And there are still times when I go back to not trying because it's too hard and life is too harsh, and that's okay, but you have to get back off your feet at some point and try again. It often feels in those moments that you're going backwards, but if you truly look back, you'll see that you aren't going backwards. Well, maybe you are. Maybe you've walked back a couple steps, but each time you are further forward than you were last time. You have more tools, more experience, and hopefully a better support system in place. The rest of the song has the same sentiment. One line is, "Oh, how strange it is to want to die, to want to live," and that also really stuck with me, because it feels so strange and wrong to want to die, and people definitely have a way of letting you know they think that too. But wanting to live, now that is a truly strange feeling. I don't remember exactly when I started wanting to live, but I do remember realising it. It was probably only a couple weeks or months after my last attempt in 2023. But I remember the exact moment that I was thinking about the future and suddenly realised I was thinking about a future with me in it and really believing it and wanting it. Not some fantasy future where life was perfect and I never struggled. A real future with my partner, with my friends, in a life that wasn't perfect. It took me 22 years of life to want a future. 22 years I thought it was impossible. 22 years that made me truly give up, and yet here I am. 25 years old, putting in offers on a realistic dream home that could quite possibly be my forever home, with my beautiful loving partner, with friends who maybe aren't always close by but are always a text away, going to the gigs I dreamed of going to as a kid, doing YouTube, maybe not professionally, but finally doing a YouTube channel that I stuck to, doing my art that I always kind of gave up on, and going to get treatment for health problems that are finally diagnosed. I never thought any of this possible. I never even dreamed of it. The only futures I dreamed of were stupid fantasies of vampires or something. I didn't dare dream a real future because I never expected to be here. If you relate to this at all, please know it can get better. You can get better. Life isn't always shit. I can't promise your life will ever be perfect, but you can learn to live with the imperfections and cut out what you need to. Take it from someone who spent their entire lives from the age of 6 dealing with issues like self-harm, eating disorders, addiction, relationship issues, suicidal ideation and attempts, and more trauma than I know what to do with. You can get there, and I will always be there for anyone.
Okay, so that's the final spread. Let me know if you like it. I love how it came out. I think it's really cool and dynamic. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!